Hey folks, so crazy amounts of panic. Okay, let's panic this week, as well as the other weekly news. It seems like these things are appropriate. Anyway, let's get straight to it. So, how's it going? Do I have music playing? Yeah, I think I have it playing. Welcome to the second to the last week of the year. I am your host, Potter, and very glad to have you guys here. I goofed. I said that it was 11 o'clock when it should have been 10. Things happen. I really want to give a very special thank you. You know what? Do I even know if I'm talking? Hold on one second. Make sure my audio is working. Yeah, my audio is working. Yay. I wanted to tell you guys thank you for continuing to watch. I like it. We've got our own little corner. It's like a Cheers bar, average 20 people. Not bad. So I think you're going to start seeing is that all of the people who are people who can tell you on what's the new sales that are coming out. They can tell you about the new things before they happen. Those people versus people like me who are the technologists. And just before I even start this, I am not giving any financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. And if you want that, go to a paid professional. I have one. You should too. But I'm only explaining this from a cybersecurity, dev, I was system admin perspective, as well as a fledgling Web3 developer, but it incorporates all the technology. So I can make wiser decisions, but ultimately, as Stena Breezy says, this is a solo sport. So kind of cataloging what we're doing, at the same time finding our voice and becoming a little bit more of a secret corner of DeFi where we can talk knowledgeably about what's going on. So with the disclaimers out of the way, let's get to it. Panic. Like I said, just kidding. I can't find anybody who will talk positively about crypto right now. I mean, everybody wants to focus on it's not equity, but it is equity. Everybody wants to focus on it as equities trading. People don't want to focus on what's happening in the dev space, what's happening in the blockchain space, what kind of innovation is coming out of it. They only want to talk about the crooks at FTX. And they've already said they're guilty, so I'm not slandering them. So there's plenty of panic, and there's a good reason. But what we're starting to see is, if you're watching this, you've got to be into DeFi. So what you're seeing is that those centralized guys, a lot of our friends and colleagues, and maybe even you too, went into DeFi, into centralized token exchange. And when they heard that we were doing exchanges in DeFi, they were like, oh, the news told me that you guys are the risky ones. We're doing it smart. These are known people. My money's gone where? Whether it was Voyager, FTX, Celsius, or Luna, all of those were centralized. What you're starting to see is people like us are starting to be seen as people who knew what the fluff we were talking about when it came to, or at least had an idea that what we were saying was our money wasn't going away. It was either going up or leveling off. And then with the economy, everything came down. But I heard some very interesting news from, it's called Block Bytes. You guys can check that out. They're a little bit more FTM friendly, but they talked about the state of altcoins and what the FTC was looking. That's it. What the government was looking at when it came to legislation, but they still couldn't come up with anything positive. It was all doom and gloom. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's just that I don't see it that way. I see that it is not happy right now, but there are people who invested tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars, and placed it in the hands of a centralized structure. And what you're starting to see now is that the decentralized people are getting a voice. People are wondering, well, how did you keep it? And the reason is because we had custody, and people didn't want to understand custody last year. So let me go back to BlockBytes. When they were talking about regulation, they talked about Senator Warren. And whether it's Senator Warren or Senator Maxine Waters, when you ask, well, it seems kind of suspicious that SBF was brought before the commission right before he was supposed to testify. No, that makes complete sense. There were people who trusted him in government, and he betrayed them. He lied to them. He told them that they were like me, if you will. They thought that they were getting the truth, but they weren't. They were listening to somebody either being led by their parents or somebody who was just nefarious from the heart and took money from people. So that's what Diane Warren is talking about. Now, one of the things that Elizabeth Warren, one of the things that she said was, well, what I found out was she actually wrote legislation with one of those guys. So even that is suspect, right? Like, how can you write legislation with the bad guy? But then I heard about her record, and that it's more about her promoting an idea of regulation in crypto, because we have to admit there are bad people who got into crypto, and to say that, oh, we got to leave everybody alone, that's not right. We saw what happened to everybody who got robbed, right? They lost all their money, and they can't get it back because of centralized exchanges. So it's just hard to find a good place where you can find positive news. And the reason that I'm positive about it is because all of the business applications that are coming out of DeFi now, you have applications that are well over a year old. That doesn't happen. We know from our 2022 journey that a lot of platforms came up and went away because they weren't platforms. They just pretended to be software companies, and they're all belly up now. Which kind of brings us to our next segment, drip liquidity, build red signals again. So I don't know how to say it. It's just more like, I'm not disheartened. I'm still building. As a matter of fact, for the first time, I've been able, guys, I was like super in the bad squad of, taking and not giving back. However, I'm only like 500 away from being back to even, which will make me feel better. It shouldn't matter, but as part of the community, when the things come back, I don't want to be in the negative community or associated with people who have only been taking out profit and not been contributing to the economy, the drip economy. So the bad side is, I wonder, and I wasn't wondering at all before, I wonder if Forex is going to have to do some level of, give an answer, like say what you're going to do with drip. I think that people are a little bit numb right now. People are a little bit afraid right now because on pretty much all of the the popular news, it's just that crypto's dying. And so for new people who are not technologists, that sounds real. And so you have to balance that out. And he's not addressing it, but I'm not him. It's his ecosystem. I'm in his ecosystem. It's working. It's still paying. It's not broken. We just don't have new people coming in. But one of the buy signals, this is what they were saying about on BlockBytes as well. A lot of wallets are being seen as holding their their assets on the chain. People are waiting for things to come back. So that's another good sign that people are not completely out. They're just waiting for the next thing. I guess the hard part for me is, will people understand how powerful drip is, or will they still go, I want to make money? You know, that's a good question. Whale's Corner. Still going to stick with what I said the past 2 weeks. The big thing now is max wallets. Now, here's one thing that I've learned. It's not just max wallets alone. It's not, let me put it like this. It's not just 2 max wallets. It looks like it's 3. And I'm saying that because of another play that I'm in. And I'm seeing how the first wallet, you know, it's draining, but I'm building the second wallet very fast. And I can see that how quickly I'm going to get to the second wallet. But I think it's after the third wallet when things really start to pick up, because you can either create that second wallet or third wallet and start taking from the second wallet. There's just all kinds of strategies that I'll tell you guys. But when it comes to Whale's Corner, I really think the only true answer is, you know, for ROI dApps is max wallets. And so I'm doing there well too. My builder animal farm strategies, well, they haven't changed. It's still paying out. The dogs and pigs have been affected, and not by anything other than the fact that the tax on the dogs has finally started to depreciate to a level where people are like, I don't care how much I get taxed. I saw Stunny Breezy get his money. I'm going to get my money. So a lot of people, instead of building, they're taking out. It is our stance right now that we're definitely building, because we're really getting closer to the end of the bad times. Now, the bad times really started in January. We just didn't know it. And when will the bad times happen? I don't know. But when I take a look at Animal Farm, and I take a look at the piggy bank, I take a look at the pig pen or the farms, the mechanism for the animal farm to grow is not just dependent anymore on Forex Shark and his own innovation. He's starting to get clients. So these clients will come into those farms, and by building, I'm able to appreciate it more. Since I'm not coming in with the big bags, I think Ray showed, Ray lost more than I made in crypto. And that kind of helps reinforce the fact that we're just building. We're not players yet. But one of the things from coming from so low and seeing it build over time is not only it develops the practice of patience, but it kind of shows you how it's working as well. Or at least it shows me how it's working, and then I can explain to you. But it's working. I'm very pleased. Well, I'm satisfied with the level of performance I'm getting based on what I've put in and based on the mechanisms that are supposed to be working the way that Forex advertised them. Everything's working the way he said it was going to work. So that's real cool. I think the biggest one this week is the Binance news update. If you didn't know what Binance was 2 weeks ago, you definitely know now, because mainstream, and this is mainstream, you went up against Kevin O'Leary. Kev's not stupid, and Scott, he had told me about, he said, yeah, I don't know. Before all this broke, he was like, I think maybe CC did go in there, and he did kind of know. And he said, because he's a shark, and that's not a bad thing when you're doing business, but he could have taken down FTX. And by having FTX gone, Binance is making everybody uncomfortable, because now they're the biggest player in DeFi space and they're not regulated. So whereas before I thought CZ could stand up and say, I'm not going to be regulated, I think he'll have to capitulate. With that being said, the Binance.us is already in alignment with securities requirements. So just like with FTX, those people in the US should probably get their funds back, but internationally, they can't. You can't be sure. Now, Kevin O'Leary did not necessarily blame CZ as much as he said Binance was the reason that FTX failed. And that's true. By CZ showing up at the offices of FTX and leaving and saying, hey, we're not going to do anything with them. Wow. Why won't he do anything with them is what it caused, and that caused the bank run, and poof, we found bad guys, eating ice cream in a closet. I just had the visual. I had to share it. So what's going to happen next? I don't know. All of crypto, all of everything in finance is being impacted. You can't go anywhere. There's nobody who's winning right now. And it's kind of hard to say, who will come out on top, but you just have to think finance has still billions of dollars. And this is still a world of humans, and money talks. And if he's trying to go legitimate, one, he'll probably have to make nice with O'Leary, or maybe use that as some kind of way to get yourself famous. But I wouldn't go up against Kevin O'Leary. Kevin O'Leary will do everything. He doesn't like to lose. He makes that very clear. And if you do defy him, because he's Mr. Wonderful, he'll come at you. And I think that's exactly what he's going to do with Binance if they keep poking the bear. Kevin O'Leary has access to all those congressmen. CZ doesn't. He's being labeled as, a very nefarious character, although he's the only one around. He has had bank runs and the funds are still there. So it's still crazy out there, guys. You still have to be careful. In the drip ecosystem, not as much. I mean, you're not going to be making as much, but when we look at this as a long-term investment, when we look at it as what we're trying to build, it's still a good ecosystem. And our architect / dev, who he hires devs, but the architect of the ecosystem, he's getting invited on Bloomberg now. So I think we're in good shape. You just have to stay vigilant, and you have to not focus on the FUD as much as the reality of what numbers and what data you're saying. So I didn't have any of my guys because I advertised the wrong time. So Cole, Mitchell, missed you guys. And if we don't have a show tomorrow, it's my fault. So Merry Christmas. I forgot I'm going out of town. Matt, if you're listening, yeah, I'm going out of town. And if you stayed this long, wow, thank you so much for staying the whole time. Again, I don't ask that you like, subscribe, or follow. Just enjoy it. Please give us feedback in the comments if you think there's something that we could do better, or if there's a topic that you'd like to for me to talk about. I was thinking about doing next week another DApp review that is not drip ecosystem. If I don't hear anything negative, I'll do that. All right. So we'll talk to you guys later. And Cole comes in. Thanks, Cole. I thought I was going to talk to Air today. Yeah. So Cole, I'll ask you, do you think it'd be good to talk about other dApps, or should I just probably stick with drip? Yep. You would have I could have answered all your questions, all of them, but oops, that's what he said. So, Merry Christmas to you too. And Cole, leave a comment if there's something that you'd like us to do on this show. All right. Take it easy, everybody. Thanks again, Cole. Oh, wait, hold on. I think drip is great for now since there's much progress going. Okay. All right. That works. All right. I will talk at you later. Clicking on buttons, clicking on wrong buttons, clicking on, not like this. Matt does it like seamlessly. All right. I'll talk to you guys later. Cheers.